This winter, the UK National Grid could pay you to turn off electrical devices, and they're going to be paying roughly around about £6 a kilowatt hour. And if you're interested on why they're doing this, how they're doing this, and how you can take part, then stick around for today's video. The UK is at real risk of national blackouts this year, and if you haven't seen last week's video about that issue, then I suggest you watch that one first, because it will make this video seem more sense and why the National Grid are willing to pay up to roughly £6 a kilowatt hour to turn devices off. Last year, the National Grid and Octopus Energy ran a trial, and in that trial, they asked select customers to sign up, and those customers who signed up were given the opportunity to cut their energy use. Now, this trial ran basically between the hours of 4 and 6 p.m, which are usually the higher peak hours in the UK, and they'd say you normally between 5 and 6 use 2 kilowatt hours of electricity, and if you can cut that usage in half, please say yes in this email. So you'd say yes, and if you cut your energy in half, not only would Octopus pay you for the electricity you didn't use, but they'd also reward you on top. So for example, say you pay 35p per kilowatt hour and you saved 1 kilowatt, they would give you that 35p and another 35p on top to say thank you for taking part in the trial. Now, this trial was only small incentives. It's nothing like we're going to be discussing in a minute, but this small incentive proved that the scheme worked. Now, this year, unlike last year, the National Grid are going to be running this with all energy companies. So all energy companies can sign up to take part to receive a reward in payment to reward their customers for reducing their use. The times are more likely this year going to be between 4 and probably about 7, half 7, which is the biggest risk the National Grid have of blackouts. However, very much like the Octopus deal, I assume you're going to have a smart meter that's sending reads to your energy company in half an hour periods or hour periods, so that National Grid can see and tell the energy company, we want your customers to reduce the energy between these hours. The idea there is that, yes, we'd like everyone to use less energy throughout the whole day, but the main point of this targeting thing is to reduce hours during the peak times. Now, just check with your energy company if they're taking part. If your smart meter is working and receiving data, and if you haven't got a smart meter booked in, it might be worth looking into getting one installed now. And check your energy company's website to see if you have to opt into this trial, or if it's going to just be open to everyone with a smart meter and you'll be selected by a message. But just make sure you might need to turn communication on with your energy company if you've said that you don't want emails or texts. Now, during the Octopus trial, 100,000 customers took part and they saw rewards between 23p and £4.35 per kilowatt hour. The targeted hours for that were 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. This winter, however, the National Grid are going to be paying something, I reckon, around about £6 a kilowatt hour for every unit that you cut off. Now, this was going to be discussed to be paid as a levy, some sort of levy on electric and gas. Now, that's basically been a scrapped idea because they don't really need to. Wholesale prices, the chance of blackouts this year for the National Grid and the energy crisis means that it could save energy companies and the National Grid more than £6 a kilowatt hour to pay you to turn that electric supply off. Because if we have the real risks of blackouts, businesses going down, power grids going down, the cost and issues that could cause, it could cost the National Grid a lot more than £6 to sort these issues out. So paying you by your energy company to reduce your use is one of the best ideas they can, and could keep Britain with all the lights on all the way through this energy crisis, despite the government saying that they're not going to do anything to force people to do so. This year, there's also another caveat, which is businesses' smart meters will be included. So if you're a business and you close at normal office hours, but you leave all your lights on, you need to check with your energy company that you've got a smart meter and you can take part in this trial, because you will definitely reduce your usage if you turn those lights off and could be rewarded by some significant rewards. If you're interested in getting paid for your consumer or business energy, then check out this video here where you could be paid up to 15p a kilowatt hour to export solar.